I don't know what it is about the 80s puffball bubble skirt that I've been seeing all over my Pinterest board lately, but I want in. Welcome back to my channel, guys, and if this is your first time coming across any of my video, please consider subscribing. This is going for £250 on sale. It was originally £490. I am not spending that. I really like the design of the Jacquemus. I don't know how you pronounce his name. I really like this one. I know theirs is in the olive green, but I'm going to be making it with the lavender fabric, so let's get right on it. I'm using the skirts for my pattern today. I think it's a really decent length and this will work for what I'm going for. Folded the fabric in two, but it feels quite long. So this is the skirt. And this is the fabric. So we have a few inches that we don't need. For pattern, I was using two of my old skirts. One was for the length and the second one is for the width much later on in the video. We only needed to cut off about 10 centimeters of fabric that we didn't need. My plan is to fold the fabric in two, press it down, then gather one end. I really want it to be as puffy as possible. For the width of the skirt, which is where we're getting the most of the puff from, I'm using my current skirt as a measurement and I'm just measuring out the widest part of it, and that came up to about 140 centimeter times 2 because that was just for one side. So I'm going to use that as a measurement, so which is about 280 centimeter. Hopefully that gives us the kind of gather we're going for. Because I'm working with cotton, there was a lot of ironing involved with this project, but it's okay. It was all for the betterment of the skirt. I pressed the fabric down once more, held it together with a pin, then measured out the 280 centimeters that we needed for the weight of the skirt. My fabric was exactly 280 centimeter, which is perfect. So all I had to do was trim the edge a little bit, and the first stitch we're going to do is right across the width. Here is a quick scrap test and we are good to sew. This is going to be one very puffy skirt and I'm here for it. So the next step is to stitch this side as well. Essentially what I'm doing is just hemming around the skirts before I actually start making any kind of attachment. So for this, all I'm going to do is fold it in two, press it down, then bring it to the sewing machine to stitch. Did someone say more ironing? Guys, I just realized I really iron in a very dangerous way. The iron has no business being that close to my fingers. Please do not try this at home. I changed my mind about hemming both sides because realistically speaking, you won't actually see one half of it. So I've just hemmed this and I've left this one out. The next step is to gather the bottom of the skirt. I want the skirt to be as puffy as possible, so I want to try and gather the bottom, then add the elastic on the top half, which should really give us that really bubble full effect that we're going for. If like me you gather by hand, make sure you change the length on your sewing machine setting before you start stitching. We have a gathering stitch done on both sides. I don't know if you guys can see it. The next step is to add some elastic. I'm using this. I get them from like the pan shop. I've been getting some of my sewing supply from the pan shop or charity shop and it's been a lot cheaper. So this is £1.29 and this is 1mm elastic. I have some at home already, so I'm gonna start with this one. I like my skirt to sit quite high, but that's my personal preference, so measure out where you want yours to sit. I have to admit, there is no way I'll be able to use this tiny amount of elastic with all of this. Like, it's just not gonna work. So I'm gonna use this one without cutting it out, and I'm just gonna drag as much as possible and hope for the best. I attached the elastic on the both sides of the seams I made earlier. By pressing down that seam, I was able to just drag the elastic right across the center, which was perfect. So try not to skip that process. I've added the elastic, and instantly you can see the skirt taking shape, and this is what it looks like. I'm honestly so excited. I still have to gather the bottom of the skirts because I really wanted to have that full effect, and I did know the elastic would be too much, so I probably have to, I will have to fold this in two and then sew the ends together. The gathering was probably my favorite part of the whole project. I find it so therapeutic before my thread broke, of course. Guys, my thread broke. Look how nice the gathering was. But because the thread broke, I have to restitch, and hopefully this time around it doesn't actually break. The irony of having to take off my old stitch to create a new one. This time I'm only gonna do a single straight stitch across the width of the skirt and drag from there. I made a single stitch this time. Fingers crossed I can gather it okay without it breaking again. When I tell you I was treating this like gold, I was treating these stitches like they were made from fine dots, because who is resewing? Not me. Okay, change of plan, guys. I'm going to use the gathered part as the top half of the skirt as opposed to the part with the elastic. However, I am still going to add an elastic because the gather is done by just a single thread, and that's not gonna hold the skirt from falling apart, and I don't want that to happen. I gave up on measuring the skirt around my waist because I realized I need to be able to get into the skirt, so I'm using my hip measurement for the elastic this time around. I'm having the same problem with the elastic, so far so good. I'm on here, but I didn't get enough elastic for this half. If I go ahead and add more elastic, it's going to become the same issue, which is it becomes like too big for my waist. What I'm trying to do is I'm just trying to gather the rest of this, and if this works, I just have to sew it all in place. I'm not gonna lie, but at this point I was beginning to feel a tad bit frustrated by this elastic, but we shall not be defeated. So I decided to gather what's left of it around my waist and just run a stitch across and hope for the best that it doesn't unravel now or later on in the future. We're actually on our last and final step, which feels very unreal. I have the skirt here, and this is still the inside of the skirt, would you say? So the first thing I'm gonna do is flip it. I should probably do this on the desk. At this point, the skirt was just looking like a giant tube, which I really didn't mind. I flipped it inside out so the right side was facing the right side, cut off any extra elastic and thread from all the gathering and sewing that we did earlier, and it was time to make the last stitch, which was just hemming the sides together, which I was super excited for because it meant we were coming to the end of this project. We are all done. If you've made it this far and you're not subscribed, please make sure to subscribe, like, share. It really does help the channel out. But for now, who's ready to see this on? And what do we think? The color is absolutely so gorgeous for summer. I am so here for her. I mean, if you're not pulling down your skirt, are you actually even wearing a mini skirt? Yes, I do love a mini skirt. I'm not even gonna lie, but I promise the next project wouldn't be a skirt. So make sure to subscribe and I'll see you guys real soon. Love you guys loads.